For our impact class, we'll be taking a topic, building a culture of excellence. Building a culture of excellence. Now, our focus is on building a church where we do things right. Building a church where things are excellent and things are right, things are perfect. I'm going to be reading two scriptures for us for a start. 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 9. 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 9. It says, "But you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that you may show forth the praises of him who has called you out of darkness into his marvelous light." Now, another version says that you may proclaim the excellencies of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. So, being a people called out, being a people that God has chosen, there is something he wants us to project. There's an image he wants us to show. There's an image he wants us to present to the world. And that's an image of excellence. Revelation chapter 21. We'll be reading from 18 to 21. Revelations 21 from verse 18 to 21. Alright? From verse 18, it says, "The wall was made of jasper." Okay, I need everybody to participate. Let's read together. Verse 18, start. Verse 19. Verse 20. Verse 20. Verse 21. "The 12 gates were 12 pearls, each gate made of a single pearl. The great street of the city was of gold, as pure as transparent glass." Now, while reading this thing, what picture do you have in your mind? A picture of excellence, a picture of something out of this world, isn't it? So now this is where you are going. This is what you are representing. And this is the image. This is an example of excellency. So when the Bible says, "I have made you an eternal excellency," that's what it means. And being on earth representing God, whatever we do must be full of excellence. Whatever we do must reflect excellence. So let's look at our definitions. The next slide. What is the definition of building a culture of excellence? So I broke it into three. Number one, to build. What does it mean to build? To construct something by putting pearls and materials together. To construct something by putting pearls and materials together. Culture is the ideas, customs, and social behavior of a particular people or society. And excellence means the quality of being outstanding or extremely good. So, those are the three things we'll be focusing on today. Number one, building. Building means to construct something by putting parts together. Culture means the ideas, the customs, the social behavior of a particular people. Now, what it means, what culture simply means is that people take their culture wherever they go. So if they say this is how we do something, they take it wherever they go. So you may have people celebrating New Yam Festival in New York because it is their culture. They take it there. And God is saying that our culture is excellence. So wherever you go, you take that culture with you. Excellence is the quality of being outstanding or extremely good. Okay, I'm going to show you something. Show me the next slide. Now, I need you to look at this picture carefully. I hope you can see it well. But in 30 seconds, can anybody tell me anything strange about this picture? Okay, 20 seconds more. Anybody? It's supposed to be at attention, it's not. Any other person? Good. Now, I'm sure many people didn't notice it. You know, they put up this picture on the internet. And these young people that are always zooming pictures, somebody zoomed in and said, but why is the president of the greatest black country on earth standing on a stage that is supported with stones? Is it that we cannot do something better? Now, this thing tells about the culture of a people. Now, they may have spent a lot of money to put this together. They tell you they spent hundreds of millions and all that, but that stone does not speak well of us. It means that there's a problem, a cultural problem. And we take it wherever we go. We take it outside the country. We take it everywhere. And this has begun to represent us. And it is wrong. Let's see the next one. Now, several years ago, somebody put up something on Twitter. And he said, Nigerian High Commission in London, we take our anyhowness everywhere with us. I now believe that it is genetic. This is a restroom. And they put bucket under. Like we have come to accept it's normal in Nigeria. And somebody commented on it and he said, please, Nigerian High Commission, tell me how much it will cost to fix this thing and send me the bill. I'm going to fix it. It is an embarrassment to a nation, but it did not start with the nation. It started with you and me. It started with somebody in that office who did not see anything wrong with this. And I decided to do a little check, and I just Googled and put Nigerian Toilets. Please, let's see the next slide. I hope this will be clear, but put the next slide up. I'll read it for you anyway, if it's not clear. So when I Googled, I saw several things that came up. Number one, Nigeria's embassy in Russia lacks functional toilet. Nigerian embassy in DC has no functional male restroom. See the state of the restroom at Nigerian High Embassy in Malaysia. All over the world. We have a culture that does not depict excellence. Because the people who were meant to teach these things did not teach them. Because people who were meant to teach them, maybe in church or at home, did not teach them. But this morning, before you can build a church where there is excellence, you yourself first need to understand what excellence is. Excellence is perfection. Excellence is looking at something and asking yourself this question. Is it presentable to the world? Does it represent me? Does it represent God, the God that I serve? You just saw the image of heaven and how heaven is. This does not represent excellence. A friend told me about how she went to Jordan. She was on vacation, so she decided to go to Jordan. And so after they had seen everything, beautiful sights, she told me all the things they experienced. And airport, Jordan, perfect. Everybody behaved themselves. Once you just walk into another country, it's just like ShopRite. ShopRite is South Africa and Nigeria. You understand? So when people enter ShopRite, there's a culture they brought. And so people behave themselves. You don't see people throwing things on the floor. Just unconsciously, something just hits you. That this thing does not happen here. And you behave yourself. You snap pictures, you do all sorts of things. So why don't you do the same thing in the Budu market? We must begin to teach ourselves this culture. Teach our children not to throw things out of the window. Not to throw debt out of the window. If you don't teach those basic things, then we will carry it wherever we go. Don't think when you get to America, you're going to get better. You're going to be one of the people they will arrest for throwing chewing gum on the streets. Because you had a bad culture. And this does not represent us as God's people. This is not what God wants of us. He wants us to take this culture everywhere. So, this lady said, as they came to Nigeria, they used an old tarmac or something. So, as they stepped into the country, they were just coming from the plane. As soon as they stepped onto the tarmac, somebody started weighing on the tarmac. And she was angry. See, why are you people like this? A mature man, we get children, maybe grandchildren. You went to Jordan, you behaved yourself. You were on the plane, you behaved yourself. As soon as you stepped into Nigeria, you became peace for tarmac. And I'm telling you that, having conversations with people, somebody told me, is abroad, that one of the things he misses about Nigeria is being able to peace inside gutter. Because, I read the article about a professor. Late professor, I've forgotten his name now. He stays in Canada, or he stayed in Canada before his death. So he was talking about horns. In Nigeria, we horn anyhow. We horn to greet. We horn for no reason. But in Canada, you don't horn anyhow. So he was missing Nigeria so much, missing Lagos, and the madness and craziness. And so he went into a forest reserve, into the bush in Canada. And he began to horn, as if he had missed horning. He said he horned and horned. He horned, he played music, he played akpala, he played everything with horn. As he needed to exhale. So as he was horning, playing all sorts of music, one Oyinbo man, a forest guy, now came and said, "Sir, are you alright?" He now explained to him the madness in Lagos, Nigeria, and how he missed it. And that he was just trying to exhale. It was therapeutic for him. And the man understood and left him. So this is the culture we have come to have. Somebody peeing on the tarmac, it's unpardonable. But I'm telling you that we have a choice. You and I have a choice. Before you even bring it to the church, because it's the same thing you do in the tarmac that you still do in church. You will still spoil things in church. You still throw dirt on the floor. You still throw paper. You still do all sorts of things. People still use the restroom and not flush. Because we don't have a culture of excellence. People will do things and say, manage them like that. Because we don't have a culture of excellence. But if we are people of God, the Bible says, whatever your hand finds to do it with all thy mind. Because there is no knowledge, there is nothing else in the grave where you are going. So as long as you are on earth, as long as you are representing God and representing Christ, you should put your best foot forward. Give everything your best shot. Do it as if that's the last thing you are going to do. If you are singing, let it be you are singing like that's the last song you will ever sing. If they tell you to come and sweep like that's the last sweep you ever sweep. Like that's the last anything you ever do. Give it your best shot. Whatever your hand finds to do it with all your mind. We must have that culture of excellence. We must break loose from this make we manage them mindset. They have told us that two categories of people who embrace mediocrity. One, Christians. Two, Nigerians. We must break through. We must prove this thing wrong. We must prove the world wrong. We must change. I had this dry cleaner who I gave some clothes. So when I gave him the clothes, returned them, I now noticed that they wrote my initial on the collar. M on the collar. As in front or collar. Usually dry cleaners, they mark clothes now so that they don't mix them up. But they have a unique way of marking. One told me years ago that only he knows where he put it. Sometimes they put it inside. They have different ways. But this one decided that day to mark M, as in M for Michael, on my collar. So when I saw, I was wondering. I didn't know. I called him and now advised him. I said, no, you can't do this in the 21st century. People don't have time to, switches are very, very easy to make because there are many people doing what you're doing. I just explained to him. But of course, I don't have that patience. So after explaining to him, I did not give him again. As in, that was the end of our relationship. There's no fight, Abi. So, I now wore the shirt one day and sat down. A customer came and she sat in front of me. So I was now just talking. She was looking at me. He said, "Oga, but sure you know that this your dry cleaner is not feeling fine, sha." So I was now laughing and I told her my experience and how I had warned him and all that. She now said, that was not even the worst, that's her own. She gave her husband's clothes to dry cleaner. That mine is even better. The dry cleaner wrote the full name, as in building a culture of excellence. This should not represent us. This is not who we are. This is not who God says we are. And we need to make sure that we change the narrative. Wherever you go, whatever you do, change the narrative. And how do you change this narrative? By reading, by exploring, expand your mind. See what is obtainable in other parts of the world. I was telling I've said it several times. Before we got married, my wife and I went to Lagos to see Pastor Joel and Esther. And we're planning for the marriage, so we needed to get the best. We needed advice for marriage and all. And then to cut down costs on wedding, just wedding planning, basically. And so part of what we did was we went to church with them, their church then. And as soon as we got to the church, I now said, they gave me drink and something. And I said I wanted to ease myself. I said, Abemona, hold this thing for me. I want to go to, toilets. Now, they in my mind. Toilets. I want to go to toilet. So, I said, no, carry it now. Take it along. I said, a toilet, they go. He said, take it along. So I took it. Now, when I entered you see, there's a difference between toilet and restroom. I hope you know. So, when I got there, I saw that it was restroom. And there's also convenience. There's a difference between toilet, restroom, and convenience. So, and latrine. Thank you. So, when I got there, I saw that the ambience, there was even AC there. And there was a place you could keep your drink. And I kept it there. And it was a wonderful experience. You can even eat there. And that's the truth. And immediately I had that experience, like the Samaritan woman that went into the city and said, come and see a man who told me everything I ever did. I went to call Krista. I said, come, you must use toilets. Come and have this experience. These things are like a joke. But they are the things that shape our minds. Years ago, in Delta State, I saw drop your debt in this bin. They had bins in different places. And the debt was everywhere on the floor, but inside the waste bin. Because we have a poor culture. Next week, by God's grace, we are going to look at some scriptures. And I'm going to share more insight on this, on how we can translate this into a church. Because before you can have a church that represents excellence, you yourself first must be excellent. You yourself first must understand what excellence is. As in, our definition of excellence must be the same. Because one person's definition of excellence might be manage jam like this. Is okay. Another person's definition of excellence will be different. So we must have a unified definition of excellence, so that we can represent this God. And when people step in, they have a picture of heaven. They see the organization. When that woman, the Queen of Sheba, went to Solomon, part of what wowed her was the organization, the arrangement. Everything was excellent. And I'm telling you that everything can be excellent. May God bless you as we continue with this service in Jesus' name.